Hi, my name's Penny, and today I wanted to talk about some quick reads that I would recommend. So this is another Strikebackvideoathon prompt. So the Strikebackvideoathon is all about connecting small booktubers and helping booktubers who are close to the monetization goals to meet that. Personally, I'm not anywhere near that, but am really excited about meeting some other small booktubers. So let's get into this. I will link the hosts of the Strikebackvideoathon down below. The first book I wanted to recommend is The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. Sadly, Ursula passed away a few days ago, but she did lead quite a long and impactful life. So this book is fairly short, but it also is quite an easy read, as well as having quite a lot of action, which pushes things forward. But also I think there's quite a lot of character exploration, and this book specifically explores the ideas of gender identity. So the basic setup is we have this man from Earth who is a representative on this foreign planet where their technology has not yet caught up, and he's trying to help them understand what's going on in the bigger universe and how Earth might work with this other planet. But on this other planet they don't really have gender. The intelligent life forms on this planet can essentially become male or female during the mating cycle at will. And the man from Earth struggles with this quite a lot, especially when he realizes that he is starting to build a relationship with one of the creatures from this other planet. There's also some political conspiracy which adds a bit more to the story as well. So as well as being a quick read, this is one that explores some quite interesting concepts. So if that sounds interesting to you, then you should have a read. So the next book I wanted to recommend is Sarafinas Flame by J.C. Hart. This is not Sarafinas Flame, but it is the best hard copy I have. So this is the first third of Sarafinas Flame, which J.C. Hart originally released as a separate novella. I think she initially planned to make it a trilogy with each book covering a woman from a different generation, but then she decided to combine them. This third is quite thin, so even once you put all three of the parts together, it's still a pretty quick read as well. J.C. Hart's writing style flows really well, so it's very quick to get through. So as I said, it covers three generations, where in the beginning their home village is destroyed by fire, and it shows the long-running impacts of that, but also how the different generations work together and the impact it has on their faith as they worship a fire goddess. So I really enjoyed this story because I think it looks at the story from some different perspectives that you often don't get. So that was all the standalones that I could find on my shelves or in my list that I really wanted to recommend for quick reads, and the rest are series, which maybe feels like they're not as quick reads because you have to read the whole series, but I feel like if each book in the series is a quick read and a good read by itself, then it doesn't matter as much. So the first one, of course, I want to mention is the Kate Daniels series. Magic Bites especially is only 300 pages, but these books, because they're so plot-based and action-based, have so much forward momentum and the writing flows really well. So I know I devoured this super quick, and pretty much every single book, whenever they come out, I just read them in no time. I do think as well that Ilona Andrews does a pretty good job of making, even though there's a bigger story arc going on, each book has enough of a story that you could read it by itself and still get something out of it. Like even if you read one of the later books in this series, you wouldn't be too confused and you would still feel satisfied at the end. I think so. So of course I recommend this. Another book that I would recommend would be The Giver by Lois Lowry. Is that who it's by? Hope so. So technically The Giver, there's a quartet of books, but you can just read The Giver and that would be fine. I did find I didn't enjoy the future books as much as I enjoyed The Giver, so if you just wanted to read The Giver and never read the rest, that would be fine. The Giver's one of these classic books that I always heard people talking about how much they loved it, and I thought that they were probably exaggerating, but then when I read it, I was just blown away by it. And because it's targeted, I think more at middle grade or maybe young adult, but because it's targeted at those younger readers, that's part of what makes it such an easy read. Everything's very digestible, but at the same time it still addresses some concepts that make it interesting if you are not a younger reader. Basically follows this boy growing up in a small town, which is obviously in the future after some kind of cataclysmic event, and they now have very strict rules that they follow to try and avoid future events that are similar. They have every year an event where people get to the next age, and there's particular privileges that you gain at each age level. And the main character has gotten to the age, I think, of 12, where you get assigned your occupation. And he gets given the occupation of the receiver, which means he's meant to work with this man called the giver. It's probably, I mean, already that spoilers slightly, but it's probably a little bit too much to talk about what the giver does, but he works with this old man and learns a lot about the world that he didn't realize. It totally changes his perspective and he starts to see things differently, and it's just kind of amazing, and if you haven't read it, I would highly recommend it. Okay, so then since we're talking about middle grade books, the next series I'd probably recommend, which is a quick read, would be A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. So this is a book which I think a lot of people who are younger than me have read. My sister, who is 12 years younger than me, made me read it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Again, because it's aimed at those younger readers, each book is really quick. It is true that there's 13 books in the series, and once you read the first one you probably will want to read the whole series, but I think I read the whole series over a couple of months because I was trying to get it done before the TV series came out. But you probably don't need to read it as condensed as I did, and then each book is essentially just a quick read that you could pick up as you decided that you wanted another quick read to pick up, and there'll be like 13 books there for you. So I think a lot of people have read A Series of Unfortunate Events, but if you haven't, I would say you should do it. Even if you are older, don't worry about it. They're still enjoyable and really fun. I should tell you what they're about. So they're basically about these 3 children, the Baudelaires, whose parents die and they become orphans, and they start being shipped off to different family members to look after them, but at every family member something goes wrong and then they end up being moved on to the next one. They begin staying with Count Olaf, who is supposedly their uncle, but it turns out that he's just trying to get their inheritance, and then he is the bad guy all through the series of books. But throughout the series there's a mystery which is just more and more is revealed, and it's just really enjoyable. Okay, so then the last ones I want to talk about, again it's a series, but each one is quick, although I haven't read the last book in the series yet, so I can't really talk about that one, but I assume it would be the same. And that is the Wayward Children series by Sean and Maguire. So the first one is Every Hard Doorway, which lots of people have heard about. It tells the story of this halfway home for children who have gone on trips to magical worlds, and then when they've come back to the real world, they've really struggled to adjust to normal life. So they come to this halfway home to give each other support and ease themselves back into things. Then the second book, Down Among the Sticks and Bones, tells the story of Jack and Jill, who are from that halfway home, and what happened when they went on their magical journey. As I said, I haven't read the third book yet, and I haven't read any synopsises, so I don't know what it's about, but it has a beautiful cover, so it must be a quick read, because every time you pick it up you would feel so happy that you would just want to pick it up all the time. I'm just making up bullshit, but you never know. But again, I think, as I said, for many of these books, the writing flows really well, and it's told in quite a quirky style, and each book on its own is quite short, so they definitely fit as quick reads, as well as being really amazing, and books that are getting a lot of hype lately, so it's always interesting to read hype books and see if you agree. So that is all the quick reads that I'm going to recommend today. I would love to hear more quick read recommendations if you have them. This is probably a video topic which would be really good for the end of the year, because I know a lot of people end up wanting quick reads when they're trying to meet their Goodreads goal, so we might revisit this topic. That was weird. So, since this is a Strike Back Videoathon, I should also add a shout out to another small booktuber. So another one that I have only been watching for a short time, and I never have enough time for watching booktube videos lately, so I haven't watched enough, but I do really enjoy her videos, or at least the ones that I have watched, and that is Jess Reads Books, which I will link her channel down below. Again, I think this is pretty much why I like every booktuber. I just like how genuine she feels, and she's quite down to earth. And I guess most importantly, she talks about some books that I find really interesting. So there's quite a few books that she's talked about that I've added to my TBR. So if you're looking for another small booktuber, you can go and check her out. So I think that's pretty much everything I have to say today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.